Hello, Intactivist. Today I have a special guest with me. How are you?
I'm doing good, Pods. How you doing? Nice to be here. Thanks for having me on.
I am doing great, and it is awesome having you on. So, for those who don't know who you are, I know my pans, they kind of met you already a little bit, but who are you?
I'm just an intactivist living in the Bay Area, and I went to a few bloodstained men protests. I'm not really affiliated with them, but I like to go whenever they're in my area. Like I went to a few of them that they were out around in, and I just want this mutilation thing to stop and for us to get help because we're not getting any help. We're getting uh, lied to and saying that we're fine when we're not. Like, our something very important was robbed from us, and we're not getting to be compensated.
Okay. So, how many Bloodstained Man protests have you gone to thus far?
I went to the one in San Bruno and San Francisco and Berkeley when they were here. So I went to three.
Okay, so is that like this year, or how many years have you been protesting with the Bloodstained Men?
This is my first year. I should have been following them more because I only found out about them through Twitter, and I only started using Twitter this like uh, earlier last year, later last year.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. So, have you been an activist longer than a year?
Yeah, way longer. Like I've like been um, talking about it online since like 2011.
So
No,
2011.
2012 something.
Okay, wow. So you've been an activist for well over a decade now. So what group got you into the movement?
That got me into it. I was just watching like my normal videos. All I do is sit at home most of the time listening to people talk on YouTube. I was listening to this guy named Amazing Atheist, and he said decision is barbaric, and I was like, hey, wait a minute, I think that happened to me, and I was like, oh my God. So, and I was wondering why I had like all these problems. I thought it was like I was just born that way. And I found out like what happened to me, and this wasn't the way my body was supposed to be. It was altered very badly. And I started looking more into it, and I was like, man, this can't be, why would they do it to me and stuff? And then I was like looking more and more, and I almost like the like right after reading about it, even after the first day, I knew it was the worst thing, one of the worst things ever.
Okay. So I know you've been joining the Bloodstained Men for the past year and you found out about this 11, 12 years ago. So what convinced you finally to make the jump and start holding signs? Because a lot of people don't ever get to that stage. Like, what was that moment that you were like, okay, I'm gonna go do this?
I found like there's nothing left to lose and only things to gain because I was looking at their signs and I didn't see the message that I wanted to be put out there. And I went and made a sign and I put it out there just so to encourage them to put that sign out there even more, that circumcision is worse than rape. You have to compare it to something that people think is really bad, and you have to let them know that, yeah, that thing you think is really bad, well, this is worse, and you're doing it every day to kids. And, if you really think that sex without consent is one of the worst things ever, imagine removing parts of genitals without consent. They wouldn't say rape isn't as bad as, they wouldn't say rape is worse than female genital mutilation. So I'm also saying rape is is not as is not worse than male genital mutilation too. Like, people gotta know that. Like I feel like I'm raped every hour of the day. Like I think about it and I'm like, man, this is like the worst thing ever. Like if someone got raped, they would probably get over it after some time. but this is something that you don't get over.
Okay, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, I get that. So, when you told the bloodstained men this, did they approve of your sign or what did they think of it?
Well, they let me stand with them and they took pictures with me, and I even have photos online holding the on TikTok and stuff holding the sign. So I guess they accepted me, but they said a few years ago or something they weren't allowed to use the word rape when making the signs. But then, like just this year, they or last year, they got it approved, and now we started including.
Who had to approve it for them?
I guess the head of their organization, the one who does who like, organizes it.
Okay, interesting, because the head of their organization a couple years ago, I believe, was Brother K, and I think now it's David Atkinson.
Yeah, I think it was David Atkinson who might have approved it late sometime this year or last year.
Okay. So, do you think Bloodstained Men is like moving in the right direction then with their messaging?
I believe so. It's way better than a lot of other people are doing. But we could probably do a lot more. Like not everything is done that we could do. And they're also like scared because they get their TikTok banned and stuff if they get a little bit too controversial. So maybe that has been, you know, stopping them from doing everything they want to as well. You know, so it's not just like them not doing what they can. It's also the platforms that they're using.
Okay, have you ever gotten banned off a platform before?
Yeah, it's one of the worst things. Like I've been banned off YouTube, off Facebook, on Twitter, off like all the major ones, like at least a few times, and I have to keep making new accounts.
Okay. So, I know you protested with Bloodstained Men before, but have you ever protested or reached out to Cockfight, for instance?
No, I don't think so. I never, yeah, see, I need to know about these things. If I knew that they were having a protest nearby, I would join them too. I'd join anyone that is against this.
Okay. You did mention a little bit about intactivism. I'm sorry, I bumped my mic. So you did mention some things about intactivists and what they can do better. Like you said, they were a little afraid of getting banned from platforms and social media. But what do you think we could improve on as intactivism as a whole?
Get more videos of us doing the protest because there's only like photos. I want to see like more videos of us talking and you know getting our thoughts out there in person instead of just like photos of us holding signs. Like I want more interaction going. Because when you're there, you get to talk to them, and they're pretty interesting. Like they're people you'd want to listen to. So I want to see them on camera more. Give like you know, and doing this like weekly or daily would be good.
Okay. So you're interacting with the public. So what was your take on the climate of the attitudes of the public when they would talk to you?
Um, I didn't like it. We did the one in San Francisco. We did it in front of this like doctors convention or something. There were a lot of OB/GYNs there, and we were holding the signs in front of them and saying how circumcision is worse than rape and saying all the other signs and stuff. And they would some of them would ignore us, others would laugh, others would just point, like really terrible behavior from doctors, like you can't really trust a lot of you know, those things, those people.
Okay, did you actually have a conversation with a doctor though while you were there?
They don't talk to anyone. They just walk by, either made some stupid slick comment, you know, you just want to, all you could do is like call them names and that's it. Like they're not like you talk to them normally, but then they don't respond, and then all you can do is just yell at them.
Okay. So, do you think that targeting the doctors in would be a good idea versus the general public? Because you went and protested three different times. One time it was at a doctor's convention. Did you ever protest at a just a normal public place with normal people?
That was the one time in San Francisco that was in front of the doctors and normal people. It was like in a place where there was traffic, and then in Berkeley it was pretty much just normal people. And in San Bruno it was like in next to a busy intersection too, so that was also normal.
Okay, because that's interesting because California has a low circumcision rate, and the doctors weren't very reciprocal of your messaging, especially bloodstained men's messaging. So, like the general public and the people themselves, were they making rude comments and ignoring you guys?
Yeah, I would say like the ones who talked to us, most of them were against what we were saying. Like there was a few people who agreed with us and gave high fives and everything, but most of the people who stood were not agreeing, even in California. Because I guess like they're old, they're adults, and in California they were doing it a lot more back in the 90s and the 80s, so they probably had it done, and or they probably know their husbands or fathers had it done.
Okay, so it's kind of like a tradition for them, like it was always been done since they're older.
Maybe the new generation, it's not happening as much since the 2000s, but the people who talked to us were probably older than the 2000s.
Okay. So, what is your favorite intactivist group, and which one do you think is the most effective out of all of them?
The group that's the most effective is the most popular one, and that's probably the bloodstained men. They got the most people like looking into this. I don't know that many others. You told me about cockfight, but I don't know if you compare them and bloodstained men, who has more viewers.
Interesting. Okay, because I do know that Saving Our Sons has a lot more than Bloodstained Men, at least for followers and viewers. Do you know
Oh,
about Saving Our Sons?
no, I don't think so. Maybe I followed them on Twitter, but I don't really see that many of their posts. I'll follow them if I'm not. See,
Okay. And also, Your Whole Baby also has a way bigger following than Bloodstained Men.
wow. And do they have protests nearby and stuff? I mean,
S-
in California.
So it's not protesting, but they do gentle education. That's kind of like what they do. And they do it for expecting parents and parents.
Wow. So, wow. I wonder why bloodstained men aren't. Maybe because bloodstained men keep getting banned all the time and stuff, so they get hindered a lot. But then, because they do a more gentle approach, they get to keep their accounts.
That's a good point. Maybe that's what's going on. Yeah, I never thought of that. So that's a good point. All right, but you do think that bloodstained men protesting is the best way to end circumcision, or at least to prevent as many children getting circumcised.
Well, I mean, I don't see any other way. Doing it online, in person, everywhere you can, and just getting the information out there. But just sitting at home and giving up and saying, "Yeah, they're never going to change," is what's definitely not going to do anything. Like we gotta get like me. Like if I never came across uh, that video, I would have never knew. So a lot of people also didn't even think about it until you bring it up. I didn't know about it until I was like 25. So a lot of people still don't even know what happened to them.
Okay, that's a good point that you have to get the exposure to at least see it. So, with that said, though, you also have the legal side of intactivism, which is health equity campaign, cane law. and Gaudath. You also have regeneration like Forgin. Do you think those other routes have any chance of ending circumcision or preventing it?
Yeah, because if uh, people see how expensive that surgery is, and then after they see the ones who do it talk about how much better they feel and how they experience things they never have before, then everyone who was mutilated is going to jump on board and they're going to want to do it. They're going to say, yeah, forget that Viagra BS, forget that Cialis stuff, go fix your foreskin, and then you're going to be able to like, be normal. It's going to be the next big big surgery for, I don't want to say it's a cosmetic surgery, but the next new surgery we need.
Like plastic surgery, you mean?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it like this Forgin plastic surgery. I don't think so.
I think it's considered plastic surgery.
Wow. Oh, I would say it's like real surgery that like it's gonna make your organ feel better. Plastic surgery, like a BBL or big boobs, doesn't do anything for any function or anything. It's just for looks. But if you restore your foreskin, you actually get function back. It's not just for the look.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's categorized because I'm pretty sure when you do skin grafts and stuff like that, it can be considered cosmetics, but I'm not sure like what the definition of cosmetics is. But I guess it all really depends if the nerves work on Forgin or not. If the nerves don't work on Forgin, then it's pretty much cosmetic.
If it's just the skin without the nerves, yeah, then maybe it could be like for skin grafts. But if you get the nerves too, then it's not just cosmetic because you get actual feeling and sensitivity and stuff.
Okay, so if Forgin came out today and let's say it costs $15,000, would you go ahead and get Forgin?
Yeah, as fast as I could. If I could do it the same day, I would.
Okay, really? That's awesome. Okay, so I'm assuming you're a supporter of Forgin and you like follow them.
I like go and check up on them on Reddit and YouTube like twice a week.
So, and that's good too because I mean, hey, Forgin, you get your foreskin back. Hopefully it works out well and it can also prevent circumcisions. Hopefully, like you said, right? It might be able to prevent circumcisions.
Yeah, people see like people are spending thousands of dollars to reverse it and get it back. They're going to be like, why are we even doing it in the first place? So they could go and spend thousands of dollars to get it reversed and hate us for being terrible parents. Like they're going, why are we going to deal with all that? Like let them keep it. If they're 18 or whatever to do it, and they could do it on their own. Stupid. That's like doing it to a girl. It's the same thing.
Yeah, okay. Well, I will say you have a lot of fan questions. Actually, you have like, I want to say 4, 5 fan questions.
Nice. Wow. From different fans. That's awesome.
Okay, guys, that was Afternoon Part 1. Let me know your thoughts by commenting down below. I will have my links down below, but not his links due to his privacy concerns. Unless you are a PANS member, we'll probably put that out in the PANS Discord. The PANS members already know who this is anyways. Besides, regardless of the name, please give this a like to spread his message further, and subscribe so you don't miss Part 2 with Afternoon and our other interviews that we release every single week, and other Intactivist content. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please let me know. Sorry about the volume being low. We did try to fix that in editing. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!